Well, I've discussed the principles of scientific socialism. And I think it's abiding. I think it's abiding. And I've explained clearly that its roots comes from communalism. Now, if there's someone who knows Ujamaa, then maybe they should explain Ujamaa. We could see what that is. I don't claim to know Ujamaa, my brother.
My question is that the brother was talking to you about Islam. What you saying is that regardless of what your religion is, that you should always keep that within yourself, but also work towards the struggle.
Correct.
People, right?
Yes. And as you work towards it, your religion will become less, because you don't even need your religion when you start fighting. He's already told you that.
Right.
You understand? And I think that we have to examine Brother Malcolm carefully. See, we really don't do that.
Right.
Brother Malcolm was a pimp. He was the lowest of the lowest. You understand that, brother? He was the lowest of the lowest. In order for him, he had to go through a change. A change. I mean a sure enough change. From a man who's selling a woman to a man who fights, kill to protect her. That's a sure enough change. And he couldn't make that change, no way, because there was nothing out there for him except Islam. That's what gave him the change. He used Islam to bring about that change, because he had to go through a spiritual change. Completely diametrically, and he had nothing out there to hold on to except Islam. That's all he held on to. That's all he used it for. They didn't have it. Today we can give our people something else, so when they go through that change, they won't have to come through the other changes he had to go through after going through that change. He had to go through a change, man. You know what it is to come from a pimp to somebody who would want to shoot other pimps even? Well, he wouldn't want to shoot them because he'd understand that and try to change them. But from somebody who wants to protect the sister, hey, man, that's showing enough change. That's coming from process. That's coming from zoot suits to guns. Touch you, I'll kill you. And before, I'm just selling you too. That's showing enough change. See, many people out here who've been to prison come out and talk Malcolm, but they ain't gone through no change. The only thing changed about them is their rhetoric. That's all the change. They ain't changed. They ain't changed, but theory without practice is empty, and they coming up empty. And empty barrels make the most noise. Okay, let me get the brother.
How do you, what is the main difference between intercommunalism and nkrumahism?
I've never understood intercommunalism, brother. I read it one time on the Panther paper. I've never understood what intercommunalism is. I still don't. And nobody's ever explained it. I tried to read, but I never saw it. I don't know if you know, maybe you can help me.
Well, I don't know what that well expounds on it, but it sounds very similar to what you were speaking of as far as the worldwide socialist movement.
A worldwide?
A worldwide socialist...
Yes, there's a worldwide socialist movement. There are socialist tendencies in Asia, correct? There are worldwide socialist tendencies in Africa, correct? So at least these two make up a world socialist movement. But there is an African revolution. And there is a Chinese revolution. And the best way I can serve the African revolution is to bring the African revolution to socialism as quickly as possible. The best way. Understand? While doing that, if I can help and will continue to help the Chinese, if not materially, morally. If not materially, morally. They always have my moral support. And I mean, sure enough, moral support. I mean, sure enough, because theirs is a just struggle, understand? And we're just people, so we got to support it. It's like the Arabs, man. It's a just struggle. We got to support it. Just struggle. So they at least have our moral support.
It's just one thing I want to say, brother. Talking about practical, we here. We got to be able to, bring ourselves out of the situation here. So we need something that's going to deal with the situation right now and during this time.
No, brother. We need something that's going to deal with the situation forever. Not right now. We're going to ease right now, but we need something that's going to deal with it forever. Understand? So mine is forever. Mine's not just for right now. What I'm pushing for is going to be finished. There ain't going to be no more of him or it. So I'm not talking about right now, you understand? I'm talking about my grandchild. You understand that?
We made that happen.
No, brother.
We
That's what you don't know. I know my grandchild gonna be out there. I know that. And I know we gonna win. And I know I gonna win. Because if my grandchild win, I win. Because that's my people. So I'm not worried about it. Now you may think you're not gonna win.
No, I don't believe that, brother. No, don't misunderstand.
You know we gonna win?
I know we gonna win.
Well then if we gonna win, let's slow it down and do it in style. Let's put it on him the way he's supposed to get it. Let's make him suffer slowly. Let's slow it down.
We have to talk about practicality.
I'm talking about practicality.
I'm not opposed to what you're saying, brother.
Right, okay.
You know,
I'm talking about practicality.
I just want to understand. You know?
Right, I hear you.
All right.
I'm talking about practicality.
Okay, beautiful, brother. But what I'm speaking of is we got to be able to take care of our situation now. See, like right now, we're dying. Drugs and so forth, they're railroading a lot of us.
But we said that's going out to the community. We said that. That's going out to the
Well,
community.
we got to have something that's going to deal and educate us now.
Yes, we're going to do that. We're
So
going to do
that
that.
if we do return to Africa,
We're going to do
we
that.
got to have that kind of vehicle.
We're
So
gonna do
that's
that.
what I'm talking about being practical.
We're going to do that. I started off by telling you that theory without practice is empty. And I hope I ain't an empty nigga. I hope. I'm going to get it before we finish. All right? We still got time.
When our conflict ends with European, how then do we deal with the Arabs, and how then do we deal with the black people, followers of Islam, and what type of a conflict resolve ourselves?
You always remember that there are many contradictions. There can be many contradictions within a thing itself, all right? And so what you have to do is to prioritize your contradictions. Major contradiction, minor contradiction. Okay. There is a major contradiction between Africa and European imperialism, correct? There's also that contradiction for the Arabs. But there's a minor contradiction between the Arabs and the Africans. And we want to seek to make this contradiction a non-antagonistic contradiction. You understand? Non-antagonistic contradiction. So that's what we have to do at this point. Hoping that by the time we have resolved this contradiction would have resolved itself non-antagonistically. If it has not, it will be resolved. And the just people will always win. My brother.
I've been noticing a few things about just the attitude of people, just here on campus and just around the country, a lot of traveling or something. And they seem to be on a cool nature in terms of their nationalistic attitude, whether it be Pan-Africanism or what. What do you think can be done, or what's needed to be done to agitate that type of response that we used to have, where we used to, question each other's validity, because there used to be a saying, be cool, man, to be hot rather than to be cool, so that at least conflict between us can bring about some answers in terms of justifying what we're doing, and keeping in constant check, self-check, so that we can.
I'm not sure I understand. I'm sorry.
Just the attitude I'm talking about, overall attitude of black people, and the effect of the white media and things like that to suppress our inward nature, or us coming together. Okay, I'm saying, what do you feel needs to be done to re-agitate, the kind
You're
of
asking
response?
the same question the brother was asking. I'm gonna come to it. I'm timing myself. I'm gonna come to it. I want to get all the principles out of the way. So once we get the principles out of the way and we go to the tactics, there can be no argument on principle, only on tactics related to agreed upon principles. That makes the discussion more logical. Yes, my brother.
I've got a problem.
You must speak louder, please.
I've got a problem trying to understand how you accept the notion that one can have a $70,000 house as long as he doesn't exploit it.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is that it doesn't seem like that there's enough natural resources for everyone to have a $70,000 house. So somewhere along the line, one has to impose a limit on the amount of natural resources that we're going to have on a $70,000 house. I mean, the amount of money we're going to spend on a house. How are you going to solve this within the contradictions of socialism?
Very easy. Because you're not talking about a socialist society, you're talking about America, which is a capitalist society, first and foremost, okay? Let's say a man works and earns $100,000, okay, a year, all right? Another man works and makes $50,000 a year. Another man, $2,000 a year. Most of the people making $2,000, all right? All right? This man makes $100,000 in the work he's doing. He's not exploiting these people. Is it possible? It's not. What are you saying? It's not possible to exploit?
It seemed to me that in order for the man to make $100,000, that
He has to be exploited?
he has
I
to
thought
be-
that's what you were going to say. All right.
No.
I hear you.
Some people have to make $2,000.
Right, I hear you. 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 All right, look. Let's take book writing. All right? Let's take book writing. All right? Brother writes a book. In order to get the book published, he has to go to a publishing firm, right? Publishing. He has to sell his labor to the publishing firm. You understand? The publishing firm is going to make the profit, not really him. They will give him some money, you understand? If his book, for example, makes $700,000, they're going to give him $100,000. You understand? He's still being exploited because he has to sell his labor to the publishing house. Correct? All right? Has he exploited anybody when he gets his 100,000? He is caught up in an exploitative system. Yes.
My problem with that is this, in that
He ain't got no control over it. Matter of fact, he begging, he's publishing, he's working, he's publishing it. That man gonna tell him, I'm gonna give you this much percentage. See? But the man, he ain't doing nothing. It's a brother who wrote the book. He the one who did the work. He's being exploited. But the level of production, the level of returns for his work is much higher than the level of returns for somebody else inside the same system. You understand what I'm saying? But he's being exploited. He ain't exploiting nobody. He can't even sell the book for the price he wants to sell it for.
Okay, the problem with that is that I think that the principle is that once I get beyond my basic needs, food, clothing, shelter, then I must use whatever money I've got in order to
Yes, to do what you want with it. For example,
implement the whole notion that to bring up the dude for got $2,000.
I hear you. 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 But how you gonna give it to the 2,000? What you gonna do? Go out and give everybody $1?
Well, wait a minute now. Give me credit for coming up with some kind of alternative other than.
I'm coming up with the others. I'm coming up with the others. All right, what? I'm asking you. The brothers are unorganized. Okay? Right. Now what you gonna do with
I
it?
would suggest that if one say after $10,000 of wages, and I've gotten $700,000, then there must be some sort of collective utilization.
There's no disagreement. There's no disagreement. I'm talking about in a capitalist society.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, and in a socialist society, this amount would not be possible in a socialist society. But whatever amount, for example, maybe the brother couldn't get 700,000, but his production, while you're moving towards socialism, may yield high returns. So he gets X number of dollars, all right? So he can do with that X number of dollars that he wants. Maybe he likes a car, maybe he likes a house, maybe he likes pigs, you know, maybe he likes clothes. So instead of, we might have a bad house but clean clothes. Somebody might have a good house and not such clean clothes, because people balance out according to their taste what they want to do with the extra cash they have.
Okay, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to say this.
All right.
My feelings are that one's principle of ideology of socialism would not allow him to go beyond his basic needs.
Correct.
He would
Correct.
take the
Correct.
$690,000 and find some functional use within the
Correct.
society. Right?
Correct.
We would never get to the question of whether you live in a $7,000 home.
Correct.
If your basic principles were socialist.
Correct.
You would say, I cannot do this.
Correct. In a socialist society.
No matter where you are.
No matter where you are.
Even in the contradictions of a capitalist society.
Even if it may benefit you to have a $70,000 house, can you say it will not benefit you?
I just not
You
at
have
the
to be-
expense of having black people hungry. Not at the expense of black people in houses.
But that's not, you're not making black people hungry.
It's politics.
How are you making them hungry?
Because I think that my utilization of the full non-exploited money can only be at the expense of some people.
But how are you going to give it back? What's the structure? What's the structure?
What structure?
What's the structure,
I
man?
can think of communal types of structure.
Correct.
Whereby we can have a more equitable utilization of the resources in which I have based upon my unique skills.
Correct. Correct. And I can
My
think.
ability to speak, my ability to write, my ability to run, my ability to
I
play
hear you.
ball, whatever.
I
it
hear
is.
you. I hear you.
The question of entering a $70,000 home would never get to that.
Maybe you never get that high amount of money.
But Brother Stokely, even as a tactic, Brother Stokely Carmichael should not be living in a $70,000 house.
Well, why not?
Talking to the masses, if only for tactics.
But no. We want principle. I don't want tactics. I want principle. I want principle. What's the principle?
Let me throw something at you.
Throw it at me. I don't have a $70,000 house now, but I want throw it at me. I want to discuss it.
Let's just talk about the cutoff point. I think there has to be a cutoff point if we're going to start talking about dealing with socialism principles,
Right.
brothers, and the community.
Right.
Now, it would be untactful to do that. Plus, the main
No. It's not a question of tax. We're talking about the money. If I'm collecting the money from, see, if I come in, I'm collecting your money. Dig it? And I'm taking your money that I'm collecting because I say I'm working for you and buy a $70,000 house, and I ought to be offed.
You gave an example of.
Yes, that's not the question. We're talking about my own money.
Right. You
Right.
gave the book business.
Right. Exactly.
For instance, this whole business of $700,000
Right.
that were made in dealing with books.
Right.
People continue to do what the capitalists suggest.
Right.
The cutoff point, I says, is where the man is. The man
Correct.
who controls the modes of production. Now, when he throws out these crumbs, if somebody does not react on that kind of behavior, then the system doesn't stop. All you're doing is supporting the system.
But how many
You
people,
are-
how
wait a
many
minute.
people in here would react on that?
No.
How
Let's.
many people in here would take that $100,000 and do with it what they
But we're
want?
saying that if a brother is talking
No.
about
No.
seriously with social,
You're absolutely incorrect.
he has no business talking.
You're absolutely incorrect because the principle is what counts. I could tell you why if I had 100,000, no, brother, let me finish. I can tell you and you could agree that if I had $100,000, it may be better for me to buy a $70,000 house than to give the money to any other organization because maybe I can set up an organization in my house.
That's right.
My own organization. No. What? Is it? Why not? Why not? It's the question as long as you know that when I get the money, I'm using it for my people. That's all. And no matter what I do with it, you're going to know I'm using it for my people, then right on. Because if you have the basic objective, that's all that counts. Look here, brother. No, it's not a rationale. I send you in the White House as a butler to bow for Nixon if we have the same objective, blow up the White House. So then if you have no problem with it, you can't have no problem with the man getting a $70,000 house.
In order to live in a $70,000 house, some black people gotta live in a mud hut, and I'm saying that's wrong. For me to consciously make
All right,
a decision.
let me tell you. Do you agree with me? The President Secretary says that in revolution there's no sentimentality. Do you agree with me? The President Secretary says that in revolution there's no sentimentality. You got no problem. Then if you want to tell me that you can't do this because people are going to be suffering, that's a bad excuse, brother. What's the scientific results? Because our people are suffering.
But I cannot live.
Our people are suffering. What are the scientific results? See, you're thinking about the house as a living house, just to live in at $70,000. I'm thinking about an organization, man.
I'm suggesting to you that you are placing more emphasis on organization than you are on people when you're suggesting, when you're telling me that you are living for organization rather than using that money.
But if the organization is organizing the party, the people.
My thoughts are that if we're serious about the questions of redistribution of wealth, we cannot, under any circumstances, entertain the notion of using more than beyond our basic needs.
Yes, my brother.
The question is
I
not
understand what you're talking about. You're talking about basic needs of subsistence.
right.
But you cannot decide what's the basic needs of subsistence unless you're deciding what the organization is doing. For example, President Secretary needs about 5 cars. He needs 5 cars. Because if he has a guest who comes to visit the country, that guest must be able to go in a car. The cars are paid for by the government, of course. But he has 5 cars at his disposal. You understand? He has a big house. He lives in a little room in the house, but it's a big house. When government guest comes, he must be able to put them somewhere. Now, we're a poor country. You understand what I'm talking about? We're poor. But we certainly want, when our guest comes, to give them something at least that's comfortable.
And I tell you that as clearly you can go to our African culture and get examples. I can tell you that Ho Chi Minh refused to live beyond the means of the average person.
I understand that. I even was there. I saw the place.
Right. Okay. So I'm suggesting to you that person who comes at your guest ought to be willing to live at your level of living.
But when I went to Vietnam, they didn't put me at their level. They didn't put me at their level. If you have a guest, you get out the bed and sleep on the floor and give the guest the bed. That's African hospitality, brother. Come on. You're talking proletariat chauvinism.
Well, what do you mean I'm talking
I mean that you're glorifying poverty.
No, I'm not.
We don't want to
I'm
glorify
suggesting to you
poverty.
that my principle
Yes.
would not allow me to accumulate wealth beyond a certain level.
Yes.
Excuse me. It seems to me that the problem here over the use of this money and what it's being
That's
used
what we're
for.
talking about.
That's the basic thing.
That's precisely what I'm talking about.
About someone who moves into a house just to live
I
in
understand
and
that.
comfortable.
That's what I'm
now,
saying.
You didn't clarify earlier. It's just now coming out that you're talking about.
No, but
using
still,
that house
I understand that though.
for an
But the
organization.
principle is the thing. The principle, it's the principle. The principle, whether or not, because see, a whole lot of brothers might be doing funny things, you understand? That appears funny to us. But if we know the brother has the same objective, we're going to at least wait and watch and see before we jump.
Right. And I'm trying to tell you that your principles would not allow you to move.
That
into
means,
a $70,000
according to you,
Right?
according to you, according to
Logic,
you,
by scientific
not
logic.
scientific logic, you can't say that. Maybe a $70,000 house may offer the best possible protection. Did you think about that?
I'm suggesting to you that the means of deciding must be done in terms of what the usage of that natural resources to the masses.
But it's mine. It's mine. I decide if I want to use it to the people or not. The people can't deny me the right to decide. I willingly decide to give it to the people. But as long as I have not stolen it from the people cannot demand that I give it to them. I can only, huh? You can steal from the people, brother.
Brother, that's what we're talking about.
You can steal from the people.
You remember I said something about the cutoff point.
I hear you.
All right, the modes of production is in the hands
I
of
hear
the
you.
people.
I hear you.
Now, all right, everything's coming down. You know, a lot of people are going to make a lot of money.
I hear you.
Now, for a brother to say that this is mine, I have not exploited anybody.
I hear you.
I've got $100,000.
I hear you.
$500,000 house.
I hear you.
That's poor tactics, brother.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
The question is, we mentioned to Ray, and let's bring it back again.
Bring him back.
He suggested that since each one of us, in our own unique way, have to contribute to the ongoing of society.
Correct.
And that we shouldn't be putting a value judgments on
Correct.
one person getting more money than the other.
Absolutely correct.
In terms of where we're going.
Absolutely
Now-
correct.
Now, I'm seeing that when my principle of myself and
Yes.
how I relate to
Yes.
my masses
Yes.
will allow me to make that kind of conclusions where I would not
Okay.
indulge in those activities that move me beyond them.
All right. All right. But then again, it's not principle for you, it's tactic. It's a tactic, it's not a principle. Because under your principle, you have a tactical cutoff point. Your tactical cutoff point may be you will not buy a house for more than $40,000. You understand? That's your tactical point. That's your tactical point.
Because you taught me that. You said
No,
that
no,
I
no, no,
must
no, no,
not-
no, 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 I didn't teach you that. All I taught you is that whatever you have, you should use for the people. That's all I taught you.
No, you say I should not have economic gains
At the expense of by exploiting the people. So we've already gone over this money has not been exploited from the people because we're all caught up in a capitalist system. We have gone over that. So now the question is, what I have, number one, do I use it for the people? Or number two, do I use it against the people? I may have it and not use it for the people or not use it against the people. There ain't no problem with that. Ain't no problem with that. I'm talking about realistically because I wanted to use it for the people. So the principle is whether or not you use it for the people. That's the real principle. So then you can't judge the amount. If he has a $70,000 house, then he should be doing a whole lot for the people with that $70,000 house. That's how you decide. That's the only way you decide. Correct?
No. Correct.
But go on. We can discuss it.
I wonder if you could bring it to another level in terms of, let's just say in the 60s, that all the strives were to get people into various positions. Now, do you count that person as being opportunist or egotist if they're in a position and they're helping other black people improve their condition? What do you say about those people? Are they opportunists? If let's just say you got to the position of Roy Chalk,
I'm not
could
teaching
you?
here. I came to be heard. I came.
Brother, we're discussing. Come on. We're discussing.
Okay. Well, listen. Put it this way. I feel that whatever I try to teach others, then I must start with self. And I tell myself that I've got a certain limit that I think that I need in terms of subsistence. all of the rest of my money, I feel that in order for me to be true to
I hear
myself
you.
and the people
I
around
hear
me,
you.
I must give it out.
I hear you. Now look, I'm gonna show you how much. I'm gonna show you how much better.
And I practice that.
I hear you. I hear you.
And
I
if
hear
you
you.
want some check receipts, I'll.
I hear you.
know
I
some
hear you.
niggas
I
gonna
hear
say
you.
I'm glad.
I hear you. I hear you. Now you're saying that you have a limit for yourself, right? And I'm saying that my limit is the people. Understand me carefully. So for me, there ain't no limit, because anything I get is going for the people.
Right, that means
It's
we're all
not.
trying to
No, no,
roll
no, no,
boys.
no, 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 no.
You
That
know,
means,
I
brother.
mean,
That
for
means
the
that if I have
people,
a $40,000 house, that $40,000 house is going to be used as much as possible, as much as $40,000 can be used for my people. If I have a one-room shack, as much as possible, that one-room shack is going to be used for the people. If I have a $500,000 house, as much as possible, that $500,000 house is going to be used for the people.
I understand that. But you're not addressing yourself to my question.
I am.
No, I'm suggesting
I
to
am.
you.
Okay, Rick, go ahead.
Matter of fact, once we bought about a $75,000 bill.
We sure did.
We organized a movement out of it.
We sure did.
Upside down,
We
got
sure
black
did.
folks together.
We sure
left
did.
That bill, didn't even look back at it.
Don't even know who has it. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee bought a building in Atlanta, Georgia for about $200,000. And we didn't even know, when we were getting ready to buy it, some people were talking about that bourgeois. We don't need that. And someone said, buy the building. We need everything we can for our people. Buy it. We bought a building on Atlanta. And from that building, we turned this country upside down. And today, I don't even know who owned the building. Don't nobody even care about it. We walked away from it. We walked away from it. And walking up to a bigger building, you understand? This time, we don't want no around 200,000 building. We want a building because we're going to turn the country upside down. So again, it's not the question of what you got, man. You see me as an individual. I see me as part of the people. Whatever I got is for them.
See, brother,
My life is for the people. If my life is for the people, my house has got to be for the people. You can't compare your house, your life to your house.
The reason I said tactical, because
Yeah, I'm talking principle.
absolutely, but listen to this.
But don't talk tactics, talk principle.
Just let me throw this at you. See, you decide what it is. All right, now, for instance, if we can rationalize within our minds that the sky's the limit as long as we're not exploiting,
Correct.
what is going to happen is there's going to be a lot of energy used to do that. That is to acquire the kinds of things, the material things in the society that we think is a great thing. Now, lots of energy is going to be used there, and we're going to start forgetting. Pretty soon we're going to be co-opted to a large extent. So I think
Yes.
as a tactical move, we're going to have to be very careful about the kinds of materialism we emerge ourselves in
Okay, my sister.
as a tactic.
I hear you, my sister.
I was just wondering if,
Louder, please.
to this brother right here, I was just wondering if you are confusing the concept of euthanasia with, yeah, with what Brother Stokely is talking about. Now, in a euthanasia village in Tanzania, I visited a euthanasia village, and I went all through the village, and I saw where people had the same type, they lived in the same type of homes. They all worked the village, the farmland around the village, and the profits they divided among themselves equally. And that was just in order so that everybody could survive, everybody could get what was basic to their lives. Now, yeah, this was all working towards socialism. And at one time, did the guy in the village say that the people, if they worked for it, one family could own a truck, could not own a truck if they wanted to, or another family could not build a better house. That wasn't even in the question. What they were saying is that all of the people worked for the good of the people, and that if you divided the profits among yourselves equally. But then there were some families who worked harder, and whatever they had extra they kept for themselves. They didn't give it to somebody else because they worked harder for that extra, whatever they received. And some of them bought trucks, or they built a better home than they had before. I mean, and it was theirs. You see what I'm saying? But
I don't have any problems with that. I think my problem is that I recognize that in order for $700,000 to be in the hands of one person, some people is without.
We
and
understand
logically,
that.
is an error
We
of
understand
humanism.
that. It's an error
For
of
me,
it's
to-
capitalism.
No, I'm saying. Now, that's what I'm suggesting. Now, somehow that I know.
But let me show you
that
very
is an error.
tactically. Let me show you tactically how it can work. Do you know if you have a $70,000 house, you pay less taxes? Do you know that? You pay less taxes. So if I make $100,000, I have a $70,000 house, I'm paying less taxes. But now you tell me, no, brother, you get your $40,000, so I'll go buy me a $40,000 house. I'm gonna listen to you now. And you say, now the rest of it, you give to the people. No, the rest of it going to the government. A whole lot of it going to the government. A whole lot of it going to the government. A whole lot of it going to the government. Because ain't no tax-free black organizations, is there? Yeah. So all of it going to the government. And if I give you $1 over my 50,000, for every dollar I give you, I got to get the white man. So I can give you 20,000, give him 20,000. I buy a $70,000 house, give him 10,000 taxes.
You and I don't even get into no personal dialogue on how
we must, because it's a question of principle.
If you want to, I can say, hey, listen, set up a dummy.
Correct. Cooperation. Correct. Correct. And put the money in there.
Right.
And pay yourself from it.
Right.
I hear you.
So I don't think you and I need to get
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
We're
but
talking about
once I put up the dummy, who does it belong to? The dummy corporation. Who's going to control it? Who's going to control it?
Stokely.
Thank you.
Right.
So the house is Stokely.
No, we're talking about how you
Yes, because with the dummy corporation, since Stokely controls it, he's going to decide, okay, we can give scholarships to some brothers from the continent. We can give some scholarships here. We can do that. Boom, boom, boom. Stokely's deciding that, you understand? But Stokely might decide, for him, if I get a house for $70,000, an office in here, it's much better. I just decide that tactically. See, it's a principle, and it must operate on a principle as long as the person has the same objective. And the only way you can see is when his theory does not conform to his practice. You cannot assume that because he's getting a $70,000 house, that his theory now stops conforming to his practice. As a matter of fact, with that material, he might be able to impel his theory with his practice. We just have to watch the brother. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You can't a priori judge, because you cannot put limits. You just cannot.
I hear my brother. When I consider someone, when I got a cold drink, when her house cost much more than $70,000.
Correct.
Because she has a studio in her house.
Right.
Would
I mean, you just can't do that.
That the purposes that she used her house with their studio in for is directly concerned with the cultural lives of black people.
And also beating the taxes, because you got a company in there, man. And you can't just see. No, brother, because what I'm saying is that you cannot, just because the person has a new car, you can't say, the nigga got a new car. You have to, what is he doing with the new car?
It's not the craft thing.
That's a beautiful example.
What's he doing?
That's a beautiful example.
Right.
Now we're saying that a functional definition of a car is to move you from point A to point B.
Correct.
Now there is no logical
Reason why a brother
nigga
might need a
why-
Cadillac?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
brother, I hear you. 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 I can give you lots of them. There are lots of them. Wait, I can give you lots of them. All right.
With air conditioning.
With everything in it. With everything in it.
That even put you to bed.
I can even give you one little tactical reason. Maybe you need a nigga to go downtown to get to a bank. And so when he comes with a big bad Cadillac, a fine suit and a tie, he can walk right through. Is that a tactical reason for having it?
To do what?
Huh?
To do what?
Just for a front.
No, because I know my brother's gonna be out there sweeping that bank tonight.
But if you walk, look here. While he's sweeping it, I'm walking in to rip off the money and bring it back to him.
What's your rationale again?
A rationale is very simple, my brother. Because what you keep doing is you're seeing certain types of work. If the brother's sweeping, he's sweeping, and I'm up here, and I'm up here fine, looking good, I must be doing something wrong. But maybe to look good, I can do something that he can't while he's sweeping.
No, I took it for granted that you were going to leave a suitcase there and walk out, and next day we don't have no bank. And I'm suggesting to you, we don't need a hall for that kind of activity.
But even if you do, you might need it, because you can't decide. How can you decide? It's the objectives that decide. And you're too sentimental. Look, brother, in a revolution, a lot of people got to die. You understand that? That's how cold it is. It's real cold. It's ice cold. You understand? Some people got to die. So now, if there's a building to be taken, dig it, and I'm a platoon leader, this is my platoon, you understand? And I have 7 years experience, you understand, in my platoon, and that building got to be taken. And I know from my experience that some of us got to die to take that building. Huh? I didn't read the book, brother, so I don't know about it. But somebody got to take that building, you understand? Some of us got to die. So I got to sit down and say, I got 12 men. I got to figure out which 3 got to die. And I can't do it on sentimentality. I can only do it on clear scientific analysis. This one don't have that much experience. Let him go. This one doesn't have that much experience. Let him go. This one, even if it's my brother, my sister, or my mother, that's how it is. You 3 go. The rest of you take it.
I have no problem as long as you start with self. You said, now, can I make the decision to die by going in that building? And once you do that, you didn't do that, Stokely. And I got concerned about that. Because you should have said, one of the people that's going to die is me, and I'm going to be the first one to go. Until you make that decision.
Look, man, that decision been made when I got out there and hollered Black Power, man. Before that, when I was working in SNCC. Man, that decision been made. That decision been, that's the best example you had, brother. I walked out of Howard University. I could have gone to any grad school in this country, make any money I wanted. I want to work at SNCC. $19 a week, and all the bullets I can catch from white folk and jails. Didn't nobody come and say, oh, he only making $19 a week, man. Did nobody question it? It's again seeing what you see is the material and not the man. When I was making 19, didn't nobody say nothing. The white man didn't say nothing. He didn't say a word. But then he got $70,000 house. Everybody say, oh man, that nigga jive. That nigga jive. You understand? He jive. But he was making $19. I don't got no $70,000 house, but if ever the need comes for me to get one for my people, I get it. I won't even think twice about it. I get it quick, fast, in a hurry. And all I ask you to do is to just check me out and see if I'm still working for the people with it. Doing more things all the time. That's all. That's all.
Getting back to the brother's point about the person who makes the decisions that someone's going to have to die, or you're saying the person who's planning all the strategies should be the first one up there and take his own life. Would you advocate, let's give the example in Guinea, when the Portuguese and their mercenaries invaded Guinea, would you advocate for Stokely had taken such a position that he had to be the first one to die? When in fact he was one of the most, in terms of his thinking, he was the one that we most needed to save, to direct the struggle. Now, he wasn't afraid. I mean, he exposed himself to great physical danger. But for him to deliberately take the position that I got to be the first one to die, and for the troops to allow him to do that, you've removed the most important person. You've removed the person that can direct the struggle better.
Sister, I have known no man in history who have removed himself from this earth and the world did stop.
But look here, brother, I tell you what. Okay, wait, hold it. I understand, brother. Look here. I tell you what. If you, me, and Sekou Touré were standing in a room, now hear me well, had somebody shot a bullet at you, I wouldn't jump in front of that bullet. But if they shot in front of Sekou Touré, I'd jump.
I mean, that's your decision.
That's right. I understand. But mine is scientific. Clear science.
I'm saying the way my customs govern me and how I deal with black people. I do not put up personal.
It's very personal, not political. Very sentimental. I told you that.
Jack went out on the front lines and being food and take time.
Well, I mean.
It seems to me that there's some kind of confusion over certain definitions of this issue. In the sense that when you talk about like ownership of property, private property, the fact that you talk about owning, I mean, like a very big kind of thing within an equitable society is in the first place impossible. But then, I mean, I think the brother has a problem by understanding that in a society, even in a socialist society, that society is not absolutely just at that point. Because socialism is the transitional stage to a higher equitable type of society. For example, in Ghana, one room had a car that cost so many thousands. This car was bulletproof. I mean, I didn't need that car at that time because I didn't need that kind of security. But he needed that kind of security. Then, I mean, him buying that kind of car was naturally, I mean, beyond the, according to the brother's definition, it was beyond the means of the people. But of course, that was the people's property because it was functional in terms of security. So, many brothers, making a mistake by thinking that, you were saying that anybody has the right just to go and own $7,000 house for a start. But the point he has to understand is just that so far as that house is functional towards the general good of the people. I'm not advocating the fact that somebody can just jump and just go and buy any kind of car, any kind of house. I'm talking particularly in an organized society. Like for example, in Guinea, the house secretary listing, even though it's humble, it's not comparable to the how the forest man listing. Because it's impossible for secretary to obtain this kind of security that he needs in terms of the enemies, and in relationship to the security, the individual in the village needs. For example, in China, Chairman Mao's the house down with Chairman Mao listing is about maybe 100 times or more expensive than the house the ordinary person in China listing. But there's a difference. The villager owns the house as much as Chairman Mao owns the house, because it's a whole organized kind of thing. And there are different parts to the whole organ. Different parts playing different functions. And some parts need more security and more stress than other parts. But it's all moving towards the same direction. But this doesn't mean that, and if I get it right, you are saying that, anybody can just jump and buy a 7,000 house and just do whatever you want to do with it. Which I think the brother has. Big misconception I think the brother has. But it's a question of how functional in terms of general framework, general plans, revolution. How does that fit in? And I see this, for example, in the castle in Ghana, Nkrumah's castle, or Mekoni Octopus castle, or anything. He lived in the castle, and the castle was really expensive because it had to, have some canoes, some bombs here, and everything for security. So to say that why Nkrumah was not revolutionary simply because he lived in the house, I think would be like trying to negate the reality of the struggle. Because to go into a revolution doesn't mean that everybody should just go and live like a peasant. You can have the peasant spirit, you can live the peasant life, but play different roles. You will have spies, for example. You will have people who will be ambassadors. And if you have an ambassador in China, you don't expect an ambassador in China to live in China as a peasant is living. So I think that we just have to understand the question of relativity to the whole to the whole structure, and not the question of private ownership, private property.
I'd like to also make a point on your statement, and I'll use an example as far as being right here is concerned. We have problems with medical centers. We have problems with daycare centers, and we even have problems with housing. If I had a $70,000 home, and I went downtown and I met a sister and her 2 kids, and she didn't have a place to stay, but her house had just burned down. Black people are subject to all kinds of humiliation because they have to stay in hotels in New York and live like dogs. There are a lot of black people with $70,000 homes, and even more, that could put these people up and they could learn and work together and have a good time. There are a lot of things that we can do. You could use my house as an office. You could use my master bedroom. You see? You could use my second bathroom to have brothers that come in off the street and take a bath and clean up.
No, I think
there's so many things.
No, I think it's just practical. Once the person has this thing at his disposal,
and he uses it for his
that's
people.
all. Then we have to see. That's all. And all I'm saying is that you shouldn't try to limit. Just let the brother. Let's see what he's gonna do with it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I like to make one last observation.
Right.
Principles. I have no problem with the principles. What I'm having problems with is the business of tactics. See, we're just wasting tactics.
But if you agree with the principle, how can you? What's your tactical problem?
Because it's possible here that tactics can make the principle.
Not if your principle is that let's see what he does. Let's see what he does with it. You agree with that principle?
Questionable.
Do you agree with that principle?
No, let me just.
No, but do you agree with the principle? If you say let's see what he's gonna do with it, do you agree with that principle?
I have problems with it.
Okay, then let's do it. What about the principle? Why do you have problems with it?
The system that we're trying to bring, that we're trying to overthrow, is what gives you legality to owning a house of $70,000. Okay?
Not necessarily.
Well, if someone tried to take it from you, of course you had the police. That's not a shit. So you are protected within the framework of the system. Okay? Do you dig on that?
No, I don't dig on it.
Well, let me just go on. See, my problem is with the notion of the $70,000 house because of tactics, mainly because of what happens to brothers when they historically what has happened to brothers that have gotten caught up in materialism.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
We cannot.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
That,
but we'll never know if the brother is bad unless we tempt him. Give him the $70,000. Let's see what happens to him.
But
Then if he comes,
historically, that
no, no.
we've seen the flirtation.
We understand it. We understand it, but I can show you a whole lot who flirted with it and walked away from it.
Right. Okay.
I can show you a whole lot, and I bet you I can show you.
So you rather take a chance with the $70,000?
I want to prove the brother, man. I give him $100,000 and put him in there and watch what he does with it.
That's what he's Mayor of Washington.
Then I know what he's done with it. Then I know, okay, this brother can't do it. Right. But if a brother say he working, look here, man. Look here. Let's say you're an organizer. Look. Hold it. I understand that, brother. Look. Let's say you're an organizer, all right? You're organized. You're working for my organization. Dig it? You're organizing somewhere in Mississippi. You come to me and you say, hey, man, I need $20,000. You know what I'm saying? And that sounds like an awful lot of money, man. That's what you need $20,000 for, man. I need it to build a community center. Okay? Now, if I have the $20,000, I have two choices, man. Either give you or not give you. You understand? Well, you're a good worker. You understand? And your character has been like this. You understand?
We're not questioning Stokely Carmichael.
I understand that. We ain't talking about that. I said, your character's like this, right? I'm going to slide you to 20. I'm going to slide you to 20. Even if you mess up the 20, it's worth it. Because if you don't, I know what kind of man I got. And money don't ever make no difference to me. Never did, never will.
I have no problem with it. In other words, you're saying that if any brother is in the community that he wants to do a $70,000, whatever he might be, if it's interested, you let him go on.
Right. I'm going to let him. I ain't got no right to stop him yet anyway, because they ain't got no control. I'm going to let him. Because there are a whole lot of brothers out here now who made a lot of economic benefits from the Black Power movement. Whole lot of them. And ain't none of them kicking none back into the community. Ain't none of them even trying to organize even. Ain't none of them doing nothing but getting the money. A lot of them spouting rhetoric, but they still getting the money. Understand? It's a fact. That's true. It's a fact. It's a fact. But there are some who doing something.
Well, what about self?
There are some who doing something. And there are some who live in the same lifestyle, but doing something quietly. You understand? And so we don't know. So we cannot assume to just be, we have to wait and see what the brother is doing. You understand? With all that, man, look here. Once when I was in Guinea, man, we did a mission, man. And a cat was given $5,000 to travel in his pocket for a mission, man. That's all. $5,000, you understand? Cash. 5,000. And everybody sat at the table and said, give him more. We said, give him more. He said, no, I can do it with 5. We said, give him more. You need 10? Take it. If we had 25, we give it to him. Because what we wanted done had to be done. We don't put an economic value on this. All right. That's the principle. All right.
Okay, that's right.
The All-African People's Revolutionary Party. This is what some of us around the country want to start. We want to start All-African People's Revolutionary Party. The objective, Pan-Africanism, ideology is nkrumahism. We're not a lot of people now, I'm telling y'all, we ain't a lot, just a few of us, just a few, small little group. We ain't got many people, we ain't got no names. Some people know us, some people don't know us. We're going to try and recruit. We want to build a mass party. It is only through a mass party that the people can be educated. Mass party. In capitalism, you have interests, conflict of interest. Thus, you can have 2 parties, or more than 2 parties, Democratic and Republican, or whatever you want, because it's accepted that there are conflicts. And it's okay for people to fight as long as they get a big piece of the pie. Under a socialist country, you only need 1 party, because it represents the interests of the whole people. And the people are not in conflict with each other. That's a mass party. This party doesn't mean that it's a party that's going to run a congressman to be a congressman. No. This party may run congressmen. It may become involved in electoral politics. It will become involved in electoral politics. But electoral politics is not its ends. It doesn't see becoming a black mayor or becoming a black congressman as something good in itself. It only sees this this position as a means to its objective. The party is socialist. Thus, it is uncompromisingly opposed to capitalism. It sees that the utter destruction of capitalism is its mission. So it can never compromise that. That principle can never be compromised, even if you become a black congressman in this party. The party wants to organize all sectors of the African community, not only in America, but wherever the African is. Because the party is not a national party. The party is an international party, and its base is in Africa. Its base is in Africa, not in America, nowhere else but in Africa. Its priority is Africa. Its objective is Pan-Africanism, the total unification and liberation of Mother Africa under an all-African, all-socialist government. The party is going to come up slowly, not fast. Because the party wants quantity, but more than quantity, the party wants quality. The party wants people who accept the same ideology. Thus, you will have people thinking the same. When Mao Zedong speaks, 900 million Chinese speak. That's the unified force that the African must have in order to destroy imperialism. That's what we'd like to start, and time is up, so we've told you a little bit about our practice. You've heard a lot about our theory. Now you should watch our practice and see how good we are in implementing our theory. Thank you. We have them. We're gonna because we get the people who are serious. When they come, we give it.